Welcome, everybody. My name is Lawrence, and you're listening to APN's Waveform. Yay! We finally made it to 2 years of the APN podcast. Never mind that there was a year-long break where no one updated the podcast.
It happens.
What are they doing? What are these people doing? Just kidding. We love 2019, 2020 APN. Anyway, I'm so excited that y'all are listening to this podcast today because today is not just a celebration of APN's Waveform, it's a reunion because our guests today are the original creators of APN's Waveform, originally known as the Apache News Podcast, Waveform, Paula Contreras, and Jeremy Sutton, along with our lovely advisor, Mr. Sunez. Let's get going. So obviously, because I'm sort of the black sheep here, or the sheep that stands out. So I'm just gonna recede into the background as Safia. You can.
Okay, so wow, it's been a long time since I've talked to both of you guys together. We used to work together so much when I was a freshman. I used to come and help out with live streams and do camera, and I loved it so much. And so much of that was because of you guys. So, thank you guys.
Well, thank you. You were great at your time.
Yeah, no, thank you for having us.
I mean, we had to have you guys over. I mean, we had I think y'all first started. Your first episode was like January 30th, so we are a few days late, but I think that's fine.
Wow. It's like having the April Fool's show on March 30th or something. It's still
it's close enough.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Close enough to hit the mark.
It's been so long.
It has, yeah. I remember watching that first episode, and I was like, wait, what are these people doing? This podcast thing seems pretty rad.
Just sitting around a table talking.
Yeah.
Jeremy and Paula, when Lawrence was asking me about this podcast, I just totally projected myself into the very first episode. I was like, oh my God, yeah, I was the first guest. I was on the pilot. It was like me. We're talking about how the origins. And I totally fabricated that in my head because it was actually a phone call that we had, right? Or some text messages ahead of time.
For a text message.
Yes, I was like, I'm like, what? So, yes, the text messages is what led to your first episode, right? Which was the origins of some changes that we had made.
You lied, Sunez.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just like, I got to just put myself in everything.
Yeah, I totally remember planning it out with Jeremy, winter break before, and then we just hopped in and filmed.
Yeah, the plan I remember was loosely heading into winter break that year was to have a podcast pilot ready to go or ready to record by January, and then we did. And our first guest was actually a fellow APN member at the time, Jesse Hendra, and we went over our transition to live shows.
Yeah, that was a big year because we went from pre-recorded once a week to live twice a week. And half the class was all new people. And you guys had sophomores. Wow.
Well, it wasn't just new for you guys. It was new for everyone who was already there, too.
True. Yeah,
Oh
that
my
was
God.
crazy.
I felt like that was the easiest and best way to do that. It was just like, all right, we don't have anyone, not too many people hold over to complain. Some of them complained. And now they're not here anymore. And now
Of course.
we don't talk about that anymore.
we don't talk. No, I mean, but it was definitely a big transition to do it live, and it seemed like a good move.
And then
and we still started a podcast.
Yeah,
In
and you
the
guys
middle,
had lights out.
in the middle of it all.
And Safia, right? And Lights Out, and they did Lights Out,
Yeah.
That's nuts.
And
And
then
more
the next
sports
year,
live streams.
and a lot of sports live. That was probably the most productive year in terms of creation of content we've ever had.
Oh, for sure.
I think without question.
62 shows, was it?
Yeah, I was looking at it yesterday, sorry.
Speaking of producing stuff, I mean, Paula and Jeremy, what have y'all been up to today? Out now that you're not an APN
Today?
anymore. Or not
Today,
What'd you guys do today? What'd you do today?
Well, I woke up.
Paula, what did you produce today?
Today I produced my breakfast.
Wow. That's. But yeah, what have you been up to these days?
Oh man, I'm sure Paula has more on that than I do.
Oh gosh. Well, I'm still in high school. I'm a senior currently at Yorba Linda High, and I'm one of the executive producers and directors at my current video production class. So, thank you. And we just make like school content, district content. Everything's pre-recorded, and in a pandemic, it's so much harder. Like, kudos to you guys for like still like doing shows and making a podcast, because I know it's so hard. So it's, yeah, things are going. I'm applying to college.
Oh my god.
You guys are a little more, we are like not together at all. You guys are a little more in person, correct?
We do like half and half, but at this
Yeah.
point, like, was it half the class is online and the other half's in person? So that like sometimes has struggle with like balancing equipment, you know, because they keep like their stuff because they touch stuff and germs, and then online people like we rotate it. So it can be a difficult balance at times, but I wouldn't trade it. I like doing what I do.
That's awesome.
What about you, Jeremy?
Not much on my end. I mean, same thing for college. I'm at Pasadena City College, and we've been all online since March of last year. And like, I'm down to the point where I'm not taking. I skipped a class over winter because if I took it, I'd have no classes for spring. I have one class this coming semester, and then if there's another semester online, I might be an accidental college dropout because I have nothing left to take.
Oh wow.
Oh no.
Yep.
Oh no.
So gotta.
Is there a
gotta love
plan
this.
beyond that?
I mean, I've been looking into like minoring in something just to stay enrolled, and since then I've just been working too. I've been working at a flower shop since like last February.
Ooh. How's that going?
Cute.
Their business?
How are flower sales these days?
Absurd, more than usual. Lots of people are sending each other flowers because they can't see each other, and we're already starting Valentine's Day prep. We've been doing Valentine's Day prep for like 2 weeks now.
I hate to ask, but are you seeing more funeral arrangements?
80%, I would say, is sympathy and funeral. It's a lot.
That's
Gee.
awful. I'm so sorry.
I know. I think I
horrible.
read yesterday that every 6 minutes and 18 seconds, one person in LA dies because of COVID. And that's like a crazy, crazy stat. I mean, don't quote me on it. I could just be something wrong with, I mean, like I could have had it wrong, but
I mean, I'd
that's
buy it with all the
I think
orders
that sounds
I take.
about right. Yeah.
That's
Yep.
awful.
And
This
this
pandemic has really put everything on pause.
this is literally like this is our second anniversary reunion episode, and we're just like, yeah, COVID.
Yeah, what an anniversary,
We have to
right?
talk
Yeah, what
about it. I mean, of course we have to talk about it because
Yeah, true.
Jeremy and I, when we made the podcast, like viruses weren't even like thought of. So we had
Yeah.
in-person production. We set up the mics for everyone. We talked to them face to face. We ate food together.
Yeah, the mukbang episode.
And each other's food.
yeah, you guys touched
We would
each
share
other's.
plates and we
We would-
shared
We-
cups.
Not just
We
eating your
ate-
own, but each other.
And we also
Never
ate food
again. Never again.
with people from a different country.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
And it never
like
saw the light of day.
French kids.
You still have that episode on you?
It's around somewhere.
It's somewhere, but it's not listenable.
Is that a lost episode? The French Kids episode?
Yep.
Ouch.
What happened to that episode?
Paula, you want to take
Jeremy?
it?
Oh, okay, I'll take it. We French Kids came 2019. We recorded an episode with them where we taught them American slang. They taught us French slang. We gave them American snacks. They talked to us about French snacks. We were just hanging out.
Sounds like a great episode.
It was a
fantastic.
fantastic episode. I think it could have been our best episode. Unfortunately, though, we had some technical difficulties in the control room, and audio was not audio.
Yeah, that episode made us streamline our whole setup.
Yeah.
So a lesson was learned.
A
Yes.
lesson was learned, and it was
A valuable lesson was
painfully
learned
learned.
about testing things.
No, yeah. And
Streamlining
honestly, to
things.
this day,
Yeah.
like, I still check everything. Like,
I know.
I'm not kidding.
It was
One of my
such a horrible experience.
Yes, I cried that day. You have no idea.
I think I remember.
She
you
did.
crying.
She did.
I totally cried. I was so upset.
And that was
to
probably
this
not the
day-
only time, but one of the
okay.
times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know, no, that's not anything to you. That's probably more on me. That's more on me as a teacher than anything, I would say. So
No, yeah, but it's all.
I'm just
happy
ragging on
tears at
myself
the
there.
end. Happy tears at the end for sure.
Leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, audio is my number one worry now. Whenever I check something,
I
And
feel
it's-
that.
it's a very valuable lesson to be learned the hard way.
I feel that. I had a friend. She got the opportunity to interview. Was it Mirai Nagasu? You know, the Arcadia Olympic
Yeah.
figure skater.
Oh,
We've
She was
interviewed her many
record-
times.
Yeah. So we had like a dual lavalier mic, right? And she like plugged it into her phone, and we had the whole interview. It was great. She like Mirai was such an amazing interviewee. Though the problem is, that it wasn't plugged in all the way because of her because the case was bulky, so all of it was lost.
the case.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
yeah.
it's always the phone case.
Yeah, were we just talking with Safia about this? The most likely thing going wrong is just not plugged in all the way.
I know, because I just pressed
And
the
you're like,
wrong
oh, I only
button.
hear it on one ear. Probably the headphones are bad. Whatever.
Oh my god.
Technical difficulties, they always get the best of us.
I know,
You
last
know,
year we
I-
missed like 2 shows almost because of technical difficulties. That was pretty scary. And I think audio is definitely the number one most scary thing. It's like, oh no, because if that messes up, then everything just seems like so off. So
I've
about that
seriously
one.
like audio is something like I've made a really big effort in trying to get us better at earlier. You know, now we're doing a podcast here, which is great, and now we've mastered some of that audio stuff a lot more in our, you know, some of our advanced people. But yeah, that like our second project or our first project in beginning is the radio play, and then our second project in intermediate is a podcast. So we're trying to focus a lot more on that. It seems like people in the video production do pretty good at video production and really terribly at audio. So
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, let's do audio and the video will come.
I totally
Yeah.
feel that because
Because without
every
audio, it's just
time
a silent film.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. No, and our first project in intermediate is a silent film.
There you go.
So I'm like, let's
Full
not even talk
circle.
about audio yet. We'll do video, then we'll do audio. Maybe one day we'll combine them.
So
I know, and I get so nervous. I'm just constantly, let me just lean over and check to make sure my thing is still working. My recorder. Sorry.
I know. I'm looking at my screen over here that there's a waveform being created.
yeah, mic check
And there
1
is.
2. Hello.
Mic check
yeah.
1 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably
Yeah.
bad to say this on camera, but I remember every day I'd have an interview, I'd take the camera with me like to my next class and be playing with the headphones and the microphone in class.
Yeah, I was so guilty of doing that during 6th period when we had after school stuff.
I remember just so many lessons just about the
The
few
flip.
settings on that little bit of the camera that's like channel 1, channel 2, mic, line, mic plus.
Yeah.
Like how many times have we seen that image of like, these are the
I
settings.
know exactly
This
what you're
is
talking
it.
about.
Like there is
I can
no.
see it completely.
Just don't
I can
touch the
picture
switches.
The dials and the switch.
And
I would
I know
experiment
what the
with those
switches
in my
still
free
feel
time.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah, but speaking of like all these like, you know, because especially like setting up audio, there's a whole bunch of technical stuff, and then now that, you know, we've set up a podcast, there's, you know, and then we have video now, we have this, so yeah, Paul and Jeremy, how did you pull together the podcast in the first place? I know you touched upon it in the beginning, but what was sort of like the inspiration and sort of like the build up to that?
Oh man, as to
pilot.
why podcast is the big question, right?
Yeah, why podcast, but also maybe a little bit of how podcast.
Oh man, the why, I hate to disappoint you, it kind of just chalks up to why not.
Yeah. We both were like ambitious to like do something new on top of everything we were doing, and decided to just get together one day over winter break, go on a Google Doc, write down everything we wanted to do for a podcast. And then that's
They
it.
were like, well, we got a comedy show, we got a news show, we do sports live streams, we make docs. Oh, we don't do podcasts. Let's try that.
Yeah, and like
That
one of
is
the
checking
things.
off boxes.
Yeah, one of the things we hadn't really been doing is like getting to know like the student body as well. So we kind of wanted to try and get people outside of APN or even in it to talk about more of the stuff they do to kind of get to know the students at Arcadia better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think the main goals were like in create? Like what was? Because I'll be honest, I guess our podcast now, it's like just kind of about everything and anything, and just what did you envision starting out? Did you have a theme? Did you have or is it just the podcast APN?
I remember when we pitched it. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go for it.
Okay, I remember when we pitched it to you, and like we're like floating the idea around like classmates. It was, we're gonna take Under the Radar, a segment that APN used to do, and make it into a podcast, because Under the Radar used to be like a student spotlight, like things that would happen on campus that we weren't doing so often that year because we had countless of other things to focus on. So I think that was our more like inspiration as to why we wanted to do it.
So kind of like the human stories, I guess, of humans of Arcadia. Humans of
course,
AHS.
we completely stick to it, but
we experimented in there, but it was definitely like, a lot of people at Arcadia do a lot of cool things, and not everyone knows about it. We wanted to get it out there.
Surprisingly, when I was thinking of the podcast, reviving the podcast, I had those same sort of thoughts. Though I was looking back at the old, great minds think alike, right?
yeah.
But like when I was thinking about it, I was like, because like not a lot of people know what the production grind is like. Not a lot of people, they see us on the show and doing the live streams and stuff. But I was like, what if they really got a chance to know who we were as opposed to just like, oh yeah, we're a character holding a mic and we're speaking da 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 da.
Also, it's just fun.
I know.
Yeah. It's fun to just talk to your friends, right?
Yeah.
And have it count as content too, a plus two.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Safia, I remember you were like, when we had our first episode of this year, you're like, oh, thank gosh, I don't have to do another story. I don't have to edit. Just do these Ken Burns and all the transitions.
Exactly. Yeah, I avoid editing. Well, I don't really avoid editing, but I avoid stories a lot because, I mean, as Paula and Jeremy know, I did start with live streams, and I love live streams, and I love the hype, and I love setting up and striking, kind of being with that vibe with everyone. But this year, you kind of need to be in person with live streams, and you can't really do that without other people. And obviously because of COVID, I couldn't do that, so it sucked majorly that I can't do them, but hopefully soon, crossing your fingers, we'll be able to do that again. And it was so nice to just be able to like sit down and talk with people in a fun way for a podcast.
Live events are so fun.
They're the best.
They're the best. It's even being a part of a big live event and sharing that with people somewhere else, and just seeing that there is a number of people there at the bottom of the screen that are watching this right now in this moment is a very powerful and satisfying feeling that I am so happy that we've all gotten to share together at some point.
Absolutely. And I know people would come up to me afterwards and be like, "Hey, where can I watch this?" I was like, "Oh, it's on the sign right behind you." But it was like,
yeah,
it's right there.
It's like right there. And I mean, like, as annoying or as like weird it was like such a good feeling because they paid attention to like, they're like, I associate this short little brown girl with being in charge of all these people doing all of this stuff, and I was like, oh wow, so I really look like I am part of something, and I feel like I too. So it was super awesome. So
Yeah.
They probably saw me yelling at you, and they're like, "That girl must be part of something."
yeah, I know they probably saw me telling some way taller kid what to do, and they were like,
"Who is this man berating her? I'm gonna report him."
I know, who's this long-haired man telling her what to do?
It's like, yeah, 911. This man, that's child abuse. Get him.
No, yeah, I totally miss
That reminds me of a very funny story that I won't get into.
Was it Jeremy and I called like right before this earlier, and we just talked about how much we miss live streaming and just sports in general.
Just being at any sport at any level, I miss.
Seriously.
I miss overpaying for Dodger Talks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, here's $18. Just give me a chili dog.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, maybe-
I've been lucky enough to actually go to a couple of work
seen
a
your
couple of events
Instagram.
still. Yeah, I got.
Yeah.
Jealous.
I was lucky enough. I got to fly Skycam for one Chargers game and one Rams game. That was actually really fun.
You were at the SoFi Stadium.
I did. I was at
So
SoFi.
jealous.
I've been to SoFi twice now. Actually, a few times. I did other work too, but yeah. So it's fun, man. It's fun. And I miss that, and I miss the chemistry that is created.
The atmosphere.
When 10 people are trying to solve problems together, right?
Agreed.
It's like every event just felt like this puzzle that all of us got to put together. And now we don't get to play like that anymore. Now it's a lot different. It's a little different.
Yeah,
it's like a high 5 minutes before game time, and the adrenaline rush kicks in. You can't beat it.
Yeah, and then when you're in the...
Yeah, it totally reminds me of our rainy day stream at Temecula, I think. We're looking for trash bags to put over all the cameras, over the equipment, and lightning was happening at the same time.
And we're
It's
like, are
just
we
crazy.
even streaming? Is it even working? Hopefully.
Yeah. It was-
Someone's phone. Go on your phone. Jeremy, get on your phone. Get on your phone.
Oh my
There's
God.
no sound. There's no sound.
Oh, yeah, it's the problem solving and the adrenaline. It's so good.
The scores are reversed. The scores are reversed.
And then laughing about it
God.
after with everyone.
Yeah.
And then also knowing you're in it with other people too, oh my god, yeah. Oh, we're all messing up. Oh, it's all of us. It's not one person. It's and
Yeah. Well, why
That's
am I
a whole
saying
vibe.
yeah? I've never been to it.
Lawrence is like, yeah, I wish I got to experience that.
I went to
sorry, Lawrence.
I went to one volleyball live stream. I was doing something for DCI, and I was like, "Hey, Nunez at the time." I was like, "Hey, could I help out with a camera or something?" He's like, "Sure." I forgot who. I think it was Aaron. Aaron who taught me how to put down the camera.
Aaron was a big help. Aaron was originally a club volunteer and then got an APN that way. That was cool.
I don't know why I didn't do more sound. You know what? Quiz Bowl, History Bowl. Not trashing them, but
Oh,
I
name drop.
Why would you waste your time with that?
yeah. Why be a nerd?
You could be a different kind of
I forgot
nerd.
about the APN club.
oh my god.
Yeah, so did everybody else.
Oh my gosh. I just remember you guys needing a historian, and then we're like, Paula can do it. Because I was the only underclassman on the committee.
Oh my god.
And
I
you
know,
couldn't
you
say
guys
no.
President, right, Jeremy?
Myself and Jesse were co-presidents, I
Oh,
believe.
yes.
I miss Jesse. You guys were all all the seniors and all the people who came before me were all so cool and kind. So
I hope we were cool.
you guys were really
Yeah.
cool. I think I was
At least
also
one of those things.
And then everyone after was just...
Yeah,
don't
it's
wanna
you
say
draw
it
this
now,
line on your timeline. There's a before and after period.
There's a clear separation.
Yeah, before good people, after good people.
So speaking of separation, why don't we take a break?
What a segue.
Yeah, I can talk about APN
Oh, look.
sponsorships.
What a sweet little segue there.
That was so good.
It's no surprise that small businesses are hurting right now. Without the usual in-person patronage and word-of-mouth advertisement, towns are finding themselves with fewer local stores to shop at every day. If you happen to be a small business owner that is negatively impacted right now, APN has the tools to help you out through the APN sponsorship program. By sponsoring one of our shows, you get a 30-second spot on our regular news show to advertise your business to hundreds of viewers. And you'll get a shout out on all our brands, including this podcast and our esports show. On top of that, you'll be helping us to fundraise more money so that APN's reporters can continue to produce informative and entertaining content for years to come. All you have to do is email apachenews@ausd.net. Once again, that is apachenews@ausd.net. All lowercase, no spaces. Now, back to Season 2, Chapter 5. All right, everyone, we're back. It's been great. It's been great. It's been excellent. We've had, I think, perhaps the best conversation we've had so far on this podcast. This season. Well, I don't want to dump on the other one.
Let's just dump on our guests here. God, the podcast has come such a long way, hasn't it?
Wow. It's really evolved. It's really matured.
Especially,
Which is coincidentally the topic of this next segment, growing. So, Paul and Jeremy, I think just after you guys have left APN and moved on, what were some of the big takeaways that you had from sort of the production grind?
I'll let Paula go first because I'm sort of further along the line than she is.
Yeah. After I was in APN my sophomore year, and then junior year I was there for 2 weeks, and then I moved away. But honestly, being an APN for that full year has taught me so much, and I am so thankful I got to do it my sophomore year, because it taught me like everything technical, like behind the scenes, also in front of the camera, like being presentably camera ready, and it really is the advanced video production class that anyone could ask for when you're a sophomore. And it was.
Well, you're also a leader, right, Paula? I mean, you're a leader of your group. What?
No, yeah, I'm a leader now, and it's taught me, like, I have like my personal experiences, like with live streaming and also like recorded stories, and now I have like film fest like nominations and broadcasts to do, and I just put both like pre-recorded and live together, and it's taught me so much, and I'm so grateful, and I honestly owe it all to you, Sunez. But also, like, just the class in general and the environment was so much fun, and I have great fond memories of the times, and I'm gonna major, like in college I applied everywhere for film and media studies, so that's
I know I wrote a hell of a rec.
I hope you did. But yeah.
Oh yeah, you asked me for it, didn't you? Maybe I'll
Yes,
give it
I
to you one
did.
day. Maybe.
Okay.
I normally don't do that, but maybe.
He just like trash talked you in like the rec. He's just like, don't accept this person. Just
He's
Oh
like,
my
yeah,
gosh, I
you're
hope not.
you're not getting it anywhere, Paula.
No,
No,
yeah,
I have the highest confidence of everybody in this Zoom chat.
I heard that hesitation. I'm kind of concerned.
I was going to say room. I was like, we're never going to be in a room together again.
Yeah.
That is
Help
so
us.
sad.
listener, help us
So-
get out of this.
Of course. Yeah, it's
Maybe
it's
one
honestly-
day we'll have a reunion of this podcast crew with our new future podcast crew, and we'll all be in the same room together.
Imagine.
generations.
Oh my God.
It'll be like six people, 7 people. Maybe I won't do that. I'll let you guys do that.
Yeah, yeah, and then in
You're
our
right.
like
Yeah,
what?
you have to be there now.
Now I
Yes.
gotta be there. Now I
Yeah.
gotta be there.
In our 50th anniversary, it's going to be like a convention at that point.
Oh,
whole
gosh,
banquet?
Yeah. No, yeah. I'm super grateful that I had the experience, though. Like, I learned so much and, like, a variety. So, that's my experience. What's it like in college?
What's it like in college? I don't know. You tell me. I haven't been there in a year.
Well, I haven't gone to college,
Yeah.
so...
That's a COVID joke. It's okay. You can laugh.
Back in my day when we actually went to college.
Yeah, you don't realize how much you miss doing pointless homework till it's gone. But yeah, in terms of like takeaways from APN, I sort of did it sophomore year. I helped out on live streams. You know, wasn't in the class, but you know, I was there after school sometimes, occasionally when I could handle it. And then junior year is really like when it started to take off because you know I was a new kid. I didn't know how to do everything, but I wanted to learn real quick. Well, quick in air quotes. But I wanted to be a part of it, so like I jumped right in. I was, you know, kind of going halvesies with baseball at the time, and then in January, I decided to commit full time to APN. And like, you know, might sound like a cop out answer, but like genuinely, when you go into APN, you get exactly what you put into it. You know, if you want to learn something, you can absolutely do it. You want to learn your camera work, you want to learn your audio, you want to learn lighting, just ask for help, do it until you get good at it. It sounds easy, it's not, but like if you want to learn something, you can. The tools are absolutely there, and whether or not
We've
it's
got
something
we've got everything.
yeah, the tools are
it's
literally there.
They're
Like-
literally there.
Literally, like any part of filmmaking
State of the art
Or
equipment
live-
in a high
or
school.
live-
It's crazy.
or
I know, my
live television.
TriCaster, the
Oh my
red
gosh,
box.
I
Three of
honestly
them?
had no idea how much we took everything for granted. Like, I regret taking like tripods for granted. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I know tripods have been the bane of my existence. Actually, I could go on and on about tripods, but yeah, I buy like 10 tripods every year.
I know. And last year we had such a problem with this. This is a dinky tripod. We can't use this one. The horizon's gonna break on this one. Make sure you grab one of the good ones for the live streams, okay? Yeah.
The big ones,
Of
the ones in the
course.
bags, the ones in the bags.
The ones
The
in
ones
the
in the
bags.
that had the
Yeah, the ones that are hard to move.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
the ones that are bigger than me.
Yeah.
I remember there was a I think I was getting a tripod for something, and it was one of the it was one of these ones, and it was like there's one at the bottom.
Yeah.
There's was white tape, and it said NFG, and I had no idea what that meant. I was like,
Yeah,
like,
Paula, what does that mean?
Jeremy?
That's for after hours.
yes, after hour. Let's just say it says
It's not working. It's a
broken.
non-function.
Yeah. Broken.
Broken.
Broken. It's short for broken.
Yes, listeners, just take our word for it. It means broken.
As a very quick funny story, I was trying to get Jun Yi, one of our current APN students, a cable or like find him something in the classroom the other day, and I was looking at our cable wall where we've got all of our cables hanging, and I'm like, okay, I need a mini to XLR mini, and then I was like, oh, there's like one mini to XLR cable. I'm like, looks pretty crappy. And I'm like, whatever, I'll grab it, and I'm like kind of inspecting it, and I'm like, is this any good? And then it just has, just on the end of the cable, it just says bad, and it's just on the wall, just there, like as part of the mix. I'm just like, well, at least somebody wrote bad on the end of it.
Yeah.
No good.
That label maker
Right.
did justice.
No, it was like written in Sharpie, like on the
God,
metal.
on the piece
Oh,
of
that might have
yeah.
been there for a
XLR.
while then.
It was there. It looked like it'd been there for a decade. I don't know. It was there for a long time. So the cable
Totally
looked
was.
older than that.
Before your time, even.
But it looked old and crusty, even older and crustier than me.
Ooh,
Ooh.
older than 2002.
Maybe.
Were you guys even born in 2002?
No,
I
I'm
was not.
2003.
I
I'm
was-
2004.
Wow.
Wow.
I know, I just turned 17.
Whoa, way to date me.
Man.
Yeah.
Man.
2003. Year of the ox.
Just a bunch of Zoomers, and then we got one millennial. As soon as you're a millennial, right?
I'm millennial. Hard.
Of course he's a
Through and
millennial.
What would he be?
Man. We really.
I drink LaCroix. Of course, I'm.
Oh my god. Yeah, in the
God,
first we have an APN, the thing is always
Or as I
stuck
call
with
it,
LaCroix.
LaCroix.
La Croix.
I know, we'll be in the middle of a live stream and it'll be super hot, and he'll be like, "Can someone go get me a LaCroix from the classroom from the fridge?" In the
Where's my
classroom?
LaCroix?
It's hilarious.
Yeah, there's
So
like
some
a
things
mini
don't
fridge.
change.
Yeah.
Some things never change. We
Oh,
do
the
have
mini
a
fridge is still
fridge.
there.
We do have a mini fridge in the press box now, which is cool
Oh.
Wow.
Upgrades,
Yes.
upgrades.
for my cokes.
I expected.
Hold on. What
For
type
the
of Coke do you
special
drink?
live stream crew.
I only drink regular Coke.
Smart,
Sunez isn't a
smart
quitter.
man.
Yeah, there is no other Coke.
Not that Diet Coke. Not zero.
If you got to drink Diet Coke, you probably shouldn't be drinking Coke.
Agreed.
I don't get what the point
That's
is
a
of
very
like
good answer.
diet soda. Like,
It's to lie to yourself.
Sure. Oh yeah. Oh wait, hold on. I thought you said to lighten yourself. I was like,
Oh no.
that don't sound
No.
right.
I guess you could use it to clean your toilet. We'll
that-
lighten your toilet.
Yeah,
And
it's
pick
just
up
old
stains
pennies,
from your
right?
carpet.
The what, Paula?
It picks up stains from carpet.
Sure. I would not
So
pour a
just-
Coke on my carpet, but maybe. Paula, why don't you try that?
I
Tell
have,
us how it goes.
Get back to us.
It'll replace the old
works.
stains with new stains.
If you make a large enough stain, it all looks that color.
Talk about an opportunity of growing. You know. Learning new lessons along.
Growing a stain.
Yes. Yes. Speaking of growing.
Well, hey, Lawrence, Safia, what have you guys learned over your short amount of time so far in APN?
Whoa.
Okay,
I guess
Well,
Safia's been with us longer, but Lawrence,
Yeah.
you've been with us only a year.
Yeah, whoa,
So
I'm the
I've
host.
been in
We
APN
don't.
for.
This is a
Really?
one-way
No,
street. I'm
no,
just kidding.
the host is. No, we're getting the host on. We get into hosts on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've
Let's
been
get
in
some
APN
hosts up
for.
in here.
Yeah, so I've been in APN for like a year and a half now, and I was always involved with APN, and it was like the coolest experience ever. And I think the thing I feel like I've taken away most from it, especially right now, is the need to like be able to adapt quickly to situations, especially because now we're in COVID times, and I feel like I obviously hated stories, and when I didn't have to do a story, live streams every single week, 2 times a week, and it was like I loved that. But then all of a sudden, I was just like in my house attending meetings on an iPad on Zoom, and it was like the weirdest thing ever. So I realized like, oh wait, okay, so I can't do live streams, so I quickly had to adapt to being able to do different things or different special projects or helping out in
Here we
other
are.
ways. Yeah, exactly. If I didn't want to do a story, figure out what other things you want to do, you know? So whether that's crunching data or figuring out like equipment stuff or different things or being on a podcast, you know? So
And Safia, I think you've come a long way. I know you were having a tough time at the beginning. If you're
Yes.
okay with me saying that.
no, you're totally good with saying that. I definitely
Yeah, and
agree.
I know. Yeah, it's been. Look, it's been as jarring for us as I'm sure it is for you. I have a few more years of learned adaptability, but I think you guys are doing it. Before we even started podcasting today, I was just trying to think back. I'm like, I mean, so many other APNers probably hate me for always talking about Jeremy and Paula and you know and Jesse and Joanna and our like this crew
Triple
that we
J.
had at this time. But it was a different time. It was a different time. There were more people. It was a time of like experimentation of our program where
And
we
you
didn't
guys
know
were-
where we were yet, right?
And you guys were doing so good that you had the liberty to do everything, and you had the people who were so competent, if I can say that they could do
Yeah.
everything. Like, they could pull it off and do school and have a sleep schedule. Like, what?
Oh, girl, no.
No, they just didn't. They didn't have sleep schedules, right?
No,
You did
yeah,
homework
I
when
was-
you could do homework, and that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was at school. I remember, like, on average, for APN days, I'd be there from 7:30 in the morning until maybe 1.
I know, yeah.
And
I
then I'd
definitely
go
feel
home,
that.
sleep, shower, wake up, do it again.
That's
Oh, yeah.
that's
Like-
a cycle.
And football season, we're like
Football season,
every Friday,
no sleep. I just stay
Yeah.
at school.
first in, last out, like the Marines.
No, yeah, definitely,
Wow.
like, times have changed, but I think it's probably for the best because our dynamic was so huge and so different that now, like, in the pandemic, of course, and, like, moving along in the forward, it's totally different. You can't match it.
I don't think you can match it, but I would definitely say there have been really valuable lessons learned from this time. I think
Of course.
I think we've maybe where we've had to back off on sports, we've adapted to being incredible journalists this year.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think our reporting and the insight that we've been able to, that the class has been able to get, and something else that I've like noticed is our interviews are way better. Like people I feel like are a little more willing to say yeah to like this environment than yeah to them coming to us for an interview or us going and bringing a camera and a tripod and then being like, what's this?
It's a little
Like, oh, well,
scary.
Yeah, it's
very
intimidating, right?
if you don't
Yeah,
know what you're
yeah, right,
expecting.
Safia. Like, okay, now, what do you think? And so I think just because this is the natural way that people are doing everything, that it's been a little easier for people to say yeah to go interviewed this way. I don't know. What do you?
I
guys
think actually, like, yeah, I think this may just be like sort of a new normal for APN where either like in future APNs where interviews, half of them are in person, but I think the other half, and I think perhaps even a majority of them, will just be virtual because now that because I remember in the past it's like people are like, what's Skype? how we use like Skype, like even we're like Skype, like those types of programs were just like, you'd have to teach people how to use them. But now it's just, it's common knowledge. It's something that I'm pretty sure will be future kids will be taught. It'll be like A, B, C, D, Zoom, Meet.
Google Classroom.
Yeah, Google.
A, B, C, D, G, Google Classroom. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like, we've been pushed to our limits, like,
and more,
mentally.
I think. Yeah.
Mentally and beyond, right? Some of us beyond.
Gosh.
Like, without this pandemic and without the time that I feel like I've maybe been given that I normally wouldn't have in a normal year of us just obviously working ourselves to death like we always do. It has been a little nice to take a step back and be able to slow things down, and I'll say this. I rode 1,500 miles last year, and I'm looking to ride 3,000 this year, and on my bicycle, and I don't think I would have ever had that opportunity or gotten myself to finally get into a solid, like, working out and being healthy regimen. So there's one thing that's good for me that came out of it.
It's also very healthy to just step back and take a break from overwhelming yourself. Like, I remember,
absolutely.
like, as soon as I moved away and I had nothing to do, like, just feeling like the low of, like, not doing anything it sucked, but also, like, I felt good because it's like your body's healing. It's not supposed to stay awake forever.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. We are fragile beings, like, and y'all are young and even more fragile. So, like, mentally, maybe not physically, but mentally for sure. Like, you don't have the world of horrible and good things of a lifetime of experience yet, and
I was talking
even with that, it's hard, guys. It's hard. Like, it's really hard on Wednesday to have our APN meeting at 8:30 in the morning. Like, I've never had to do that before. I have never had to talk to anyone from APN before 11 a.m. And, like, you guys, nobody wants to be there. Nobody can engage. It is what it is, and it's different.
Yeah, I think I've definitely learned. I think this time has also given me the opportunity, like, especially in terms of like APN, because I'm doing the whole name change thing, trying to figure out where we're going with our name. I've been trying to figure out. I've been doing media minds plus this, and then plus, just doing stories. I've wanted to start up an opinion segment just for APN members to say their opinions. So I think APN has taught me a lot about, like, time management. I've heard that before. I've heard that before. I think I heard it from, like, Jeremy at one point, back when we could, like, meet. I think it really has told.
Back when we came to your middle school to do the play and just saw you being a dorky little middle schooler.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was like, God, I hope that guy doesn't apply for APN.
Yeah.
And it was.
Jeez, that was such a.
Yeah, if there's one thing you're.
Oh my.
No, Lawrence,
okay, Lauren.
Lawrence, you have been incredible. Like, without hyperbole, one of the hardest working members we've ever had in APN, without a doubt. So thank you for everything that you do. Serious. Like, I am just so grateful that we actually have a really good group of people this year. And yes, every year there is a unique and great group of people. I don't think every year of people, given this year's what have you, could have or would have accomplished what we have this year. So, Lawrence, Safia, sorry Paula, sorry Jeremy, but these guys are just I'm just amazed every time, and that's what makes it easy to continue doing.
Yeah, 2018, 2019 APN.
Forget about it.
Steaming
Forget
pile
about
of
it.
Hey, we were
Hey,
in
but
person.
It's all right. It's true though. Like, you guys had to learn everything, and then it all got flipped on its head. And you had to keep
And then we had to
going.
learn something else.
Yeah.
And you had to keep going. That's the crazy part.
And,
Yeah,
we
so
did
And then
the
one
rest of the
day,
show after.
Some people will have to now learn all the other stuff that
Yeah.
forgot.
Oh,
you have to go
yeah.
back.
Again.
So
let's go
first
back.
I've got to learn it.
Yeah,
Then
I
have
know.
to try to teach it again.
Hopefully, if we're back next year, I'll be the only person who was in APN, like, that even knows of you guys, or, like, was in
Yeah.
that same year that...
That's crazy.
I'm the only returner from this year that isn't graduating this year. Like, I'm the
She's
only
the only one
junior
that
in the
knows what
class.
TriCaster means.
Yeah, I'm the only
Ooh.
one that knows
Oh.
what a red box is.
Ooh. Ooh.
You've seen the red box.
So
You've
Yeah.
seen it.
hopefully we're looking to try to get some streams in soon, in the next
Yeah.
month or weeks or so.
Exciting.
Fingers crossed that we can do it safely and securely, and
Yeah, hopefully.
and that
'cause-
we've got some good content to cover. Because look, we're not gonna have fans at any of these things too, right? Like
So it'll bring our
I
viewership
see that
up.
as I see that as an opportunity and an obligation, right? Like we gotta share this with our community.
and I
Someone's
mean,
got to
like,
see it somehow.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I mean,
those
it'll
parents
be-
gotta be able to berate their kids afterwards and
Yeah.
with some kind of photo evidence, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Colleges need the footage for their sports teams.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of
Makes it hard to
We've
scout.
definitely,
Yeah.
we've had people. So probably some of you guys have made videos for like some of our sports people who have,
Definitely.
who want some of that stuff. Who are in all of this, I feel the worst for the sports kids. Like just, especially the ones that are really banking on that to be their ticket to something different and something else and something more. It really sucks.
I know. I think-
Thankfully, we're all able to still do what we do.
Yeah.
Not our problem.
Yes.
They chose that. They chose that.
Jeez. Yes, like we are, and we are fortunately able to do what we do, and it's such a good way. But I think also an important part of that is getting feedback from others and getting that critique and criticism. And I would like to, in our final minutes, open it up to Paul and Jeremy. Do you have any questions for us to Safia and me about our podcast and what we've been doing so far?
Paula
develop?
had one.
Yeah, I have a question. After Jeremy and I did Waveform back in the day, and then you guys took a year-long break, what made you guys want to bring it back and rename it? How did that conversation go down? Like, just bringing it back.
So, basically, so I've been actually having my eye on the podcast for a long time because being a member of DCI, we have our own podcast too. And so I've been an active contributor in that, and I really like doing podcasts, given that, like we've been, like sort of the atmosphere we've cultivated within these past 40 minutes, I think. Yeah, let me check my timer. Yeah, basically 45 minutes.
Flying by.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nuts. And it's going to be a lot for me to edit in the next 2 days, so that'll be... But actually, side note, I would rather edit this than a story because this is so much easier to edit, actually.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah, and I just wanted to because it's always been a dream since 8th grade for me to be an APN. Like senior year, I would just devote all my time to APN, and so yeah, I combined with that and combined with my podcast experience, seeing that Jeremy and Paula created a podcast, I was like, this is perfect. This is perfect. Everything that I want in one. So yeah, I really decided to push forth with it and just start up the podcast when I could after I've sort of got the hang of APN. And then the rebranding, that was because so originally we were going to go with the name that y'all had before, but then I was thinking and so then I make sure to check on Spotify and Apple Podcasts because I was planning on distributing this podcast out there as well. And in fact, you can actually check it out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify now. We're
And
on
maybe
several
some of you
major-
guys are
Nice
listening
plug,
into
nice
it on
plug.
there.
That was a really good segue plug there.
Yeah. Check it out,
Guys.
listeners. Check it out. Check it out.
And maybe if some of you guys are listening there right now, so.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe down below.
Hello, Spotify.
And so yeah, I was checking, and then turns out there's actually a podcast with a very similar name. I think it was just, it didn't say Apache News. It was like MKXZHD. It's a, I know who he is. It's like a tech reviewer, and so it's just it's like Waveform, the blank podcast. So I had to find some way to change the name. So I stuck with
Got it.
APN's Waveform, because I don't know, it sounded, because I've known about like some brands, it'll be like this person's this or this person's that. That'll be like the full name. And I just thought it'd have like a nice ring to it. And
I gotta say, I was a little surprised to see the waveform sticking around. I thought that would have been the first thing to go.
Me too. Me too, genuinely. I saw like the "we're coming back" post on Instagram and immediately texted Jeremy with like question marks.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome. I'm really glad it came back. The podcast thing has been it's just been it's just a different way to be creative too. Like it's just not, let's not worry about the video. I mean, of course we all worried a little bit about the video because we're video people and that's what we do. Obviously, I lit this very nicely, but but it's cool to just be like to shoot the shit, as they say.
Yeah. Part of the nice thing about it too, at least when we were doing it, it was kind of like, yeah, it was work, but it was fun work. It wasn't as high stress. For like an hour, you just got to sit down and talk.
And it's one and done, kind of, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some editing, obviously, but
Mostly.
it's a little more wrapped up and done.
Plus, it's pretty controlled. You don't have to find footage.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to
roll.
worry
Yeah.
as much about your script or things. So.
Yeah. Safia, you wanna you have any closing remarks on sort of how you joined and why? Because I didn't know that you would be one of the people to join the podcast. I was genuinely like, I thought it was gonna be like, oh my gosh, no one knows it's gonna be a one person thing. But I'm very glad that Safia decided to join. So.
Yeah, I'm super glad I did too, because that's definitely a step away from pretending I enjoy doing stories on random topics. So I really enjoy doing it, and it's also something that I definitely enjoy doing, and it's also something that doesn't give me the same sort of mental exhaustion as doing a story does. And I also enjoy this a lot more, and it's also like I don't have to worry so much about a script so much or worry so much about all the other factors, and it's like, oh, if I mess up, I'll find out afterwards, which might be kind of worse, but it also is like, I don't know if that's better, but I'm not worrying as much in the moment. So I kind of just rambled a little bit there, and I'm so glad
It's
Jeremy
a little more
and Paula,
cash. It's a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
a little more
I
candid.
just feel like a lot of times we don't get the full story from people, right? Like we've got sometimes we see someone for 10 seconds on the screen.
Yeah, and you don't have a conversation with somebody while you're doing a story, and so you guys aren't gonna know like, oh, she likes mint chocolate chip ice cream and pineapple on pizza. Like, you guys aren't gonna find that about me in like a story
It's
on
like, wow,
politics.
how insightful.
Yeah. Maybe I'll try pineapple on pizza now, or like, I don't know. I'm really glad I got to be here, and I'm really, really glad that I got to experience doing APN live streams with Jeremy and Paula before they graduated and Paula moved away. So.
Sophia,
Me
I
too.
gotta say, I remember when you were just an itty bitty little freshman, barely taller than our equipment, and to graduate and like 2 years later to see not only is the podcast I'd never thought I'd actually see ever again is coming back, but also you're on it. It was like such like a cool moment. I was like, oh, she's taking up our mantle with Lawrence. That's so cool.
Thank you
Yeah.
guys.
It was
Doesn't
super
that feel
sweet. It was, like,
special,
full
guys?
circle.
You created something and it's still, you're doing its thing. It's still going.
That's
like-
kind of crazy when you put it like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Especially when it died for a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it's Lazarus. It's risen from the dead.
Yeah.
It's
And to
literally
think that the name
immortal.
Still stuck. Like, you guys still
Yeah.
call it Waveform.
Yeah, I think
We had
haven't-
so many other options.
We do have an alternate.
Who came
like,
up with a name?
abbreviation.
We both did.
We both kind of did.
Yeah. It was originally gonna be like Waveform, like with that kind of influx.
That's not even a joke.
What?
There was an audio recording of that somewhere.
Yeah, and then that's
It
what
was-
inspired the logo, because the waveform is what
Yeah,
That's
we
what that
said the
is.
word and then had someone draw the graphic, and the waveform in the behind of waveform is literally what
Is
the
a waveform of saying waveform?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Whoa.
Big
Yeah, now you know.
Yeah.
And then
It's meta.
WVFM. Yeah.
That is. Yeah.
The
Anyway.
more you know.
I
Graphic
know,
design.
right? Yeah, the more you know.
Wow, graphic design.
Yeah, we put some effort into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a lot.
We wanted
So-
to make quality content.
Lawrence is like, yeah, I totally got rid of that waveform and put in a win that looks way
Yeah,
better.
yeah. Yeah, I need my own. I needed something more classic.
Yeah. Lawrence's waveform spells out death.
Shh, don't talk about that. All right. So normally this is where I would call rap, but I just wanted to bring it back full circle. So Jeremy, why don't you close out for us?
Oh man, for old time's sake. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for having us on. It's so surreal to be on the other side of it for this one time.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
So, thank you. It's been an honor. Paula, you want to say anything?
Yeah. Glad that we got this time to reconnect again. It was super fun to talk to everyone, not in the same room, but same call. But little plug, don't forget to watch APN's weekly shows every Friday at 1 p.m. On their YouTube channel, and follow their Instagram at Apache News. This has been Paula.
I'm Jeremy. And
tune
oh
in-
yeah, I gotta do this for two. That's Lawrence and Safia and Mr. Sunez. Thank you for joining us.
Tune in next time.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Miss you guys.